Last week on Young Single Mothers.
I don't know. There are just certain things, I guess, in our culture that people don't openly speak about.
So did she eventually have the baby?
Yeah, she did.
Single mom life.
I started telling them that my dad was a soldier and that you never saw him because he'd been deployed.
Coming up.
I realized even growing up and having conversations with other people and seeing how they were raised, seeing that, whoa, I was raised completely differently. So she really detached whatever had happened between them from my experience of him, which I really, really appreciate. At that age, felt like I did the protecting. Like, I felt like I protected my mom. Like, she has my back and I have her back.
Yeah.
So when he stepped in, it was a bit like, whoa.
Hold up.
Hold up. The hardest part has been allowing myself to be fathered.
2, 3, go!
If you're young and just single and a mother,
You never know what God can do.
you better believe you can make it through. Stand up tall and pay your dues.
This is YSM. So coming from that experience of having to, make up stories, and do you always feel like, I wish my mom had told me earlier, or do you ever have these feelings of, okay, for example, if there's a single mom out there who's just had her baby girl or baby boy, what advice would you give when it comes to, the dad and letting their child know about who he is and all that kind of stuff?
To be honest, my mom did such a good job of detaching like her relationship with him from my experience of him. So she really, really encouraged me to build my own relationship with him and build my own opinion, if I can say, of him. Yeah. So she really detached whatever had happened between them from my experience of him, which I really, really appreciate. She really set aside all their differences and just really, really desired that I would have a good relationship with my dad, which I think was amazing. And I think definitely that would be the first thing that I would say, is if you're able to do that, I think that because then if you pile your own whatever has happened between you and the father on the child, your child grows up with this warped, if I can say, view of who the man is. But if you let your child have their own opinion, I don't know, that really worked very well for me. And then also I think my mom, she didn't talk to me about it when I was too young and not too old either. I don't know, she did. For me, it seemed like the perfect time. I think I was at an age where I could comprehend. Because I think obviously before a certain age you don't really understand, and as I said, for me growing up it seemed normal up until obviously I had to start answering these questions and I started making up the stories when I think my mom realized, oh, let's talk about this. But I'm sure even growing up, maybe I just don't have a recollection of it, but I'm sure maybe she brought it up at some point. I don't know. So I think it's just really important to let your child have their own relationship experience with their father, if that is possible. I think I would say that, and I think, I don't know, I guess mothers have a good
discernment.
Yeah, that's the word I'm looking for. Discernment, to know like when is the right time to talk to my child about this and how do I approach it.
Okay. So I guess you mentioned earlier that you didn't live with your mom for a while. How was that transition for you, like from going from, because your mom, she is a phenomenal woman. She's done it all. How was the transition? Did you feel any difference of going from living with your grandma to living with your mom? Did it make a difference?
Not that I can remember, to be honest, because even though my mom would be away for work, like outside of the country for work, whenever she was around, we were together in my granny's house. So, and I'm pretty sure we would speak quite frequently on the phone. So I didn't feel very distant from her. Like, she didn't feel like a stranger or anything like that. And I knew, what I appreciated about it is I knew that this is my mom and this is my granny. I know that sometimes, like in our culture, people, like if that happens, then the grandmother becomes the mom and the child grows up thinking that the grandmother is their mom. That wasn't my story, which I really appreciate. I grew up knowing that this is my grandmother and this is my mom. And so that was good for me because I didn't feel strange. Like when I moved in with her and started living with her permanently, I didn't feel like this is a stranger or you've taken me away from my mom. I always knew that this is my mom.
And there was no feeling of rejection whenever she would come and go.
No, hey?
Yeah.
Because I knew she loved me. I knew that she was doing the best that she could to take care of me. I really did not feel rejected at all.
Okay.
Like, I felt a whole lot of love, to be honest.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So if we can fast forward, now you're a lot older and mature. What kind of, I guess, things can you highlight from your life having been raised by a single mom that, one, you've mentioned so many things you already appreciate, the fact that, you know, you knew that it was your mom, that she chose a good time to tell you about your dad.
Yeah.
What other things can you, I guess, to encourage other single moms, can you share, like, okay, you know, my mom did this and I really appreciate that, or she did that? What kind of things, you know, are still in your memory that you feel could be very helpful?
One thing that she definitely did was she had a community of people to help her. She was not trying to do everything on her own. In as much as she really did the most, like she took me to the best schools, she just did the best that she could. But she also made sure to have a good number of people around her that were helping her raise me. So outside of my grandmother, she had very good friends and my aunties that would help out. So maybe I'd go to their place for weekends, or there would be somebody teaching me. Actually, my mentor now, she taught me like my multiplication tables. She taught me how to eat with a knife and fork. So like essential things that maybe my mom wasn't able to do at certain times. There were always people around. My godmother, like there were just people that I knew I could go to.
And you know your godmother,
Yes.
which is awesome.
Yes.
I know I have a godmother and godfather out there, but they have played no role in my life.
Oh.
I could pass them in the street. So if your child has a godmother, make sure that the godmother is actually a
there.
present
Yeah.
person
Yeah.
in your child's life, because I think godmothers are very, very important.
Very,
Yeah.
very. So she really did a good job to make sure that there was a good number of people around helping her and teaching me things that maybe she wasn't able to teach me, or maybe was busy doing other things, and so there were
Yeah.
other people always there. So that was really good. I think that's one of the things that I can highlight or remember.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you have any specifics, for example? I mean, obviously you're not a guy, so you can't tell me, but being a girl, because me being a boy mom, hashtag boy mom,
Yeah.
I have so many worries and concerns. How do I raise him,
Yeah.
you know, the right way? What kind of things do I need to know about boys? What kind of things would you say to somebody raising a girl child? Like, what kind of things do you feel are important for the girl child to know, especially when they're in an environment where it's just mom, you know,
Yeah.
there's no father figure at all. Maybe the father's not present. Maybe the
Yeah.
father isn't playing a part. What kind of things would you say?
First of all, I think my mom, I don't know, she had an interesting balance of, I mean, I knew she was my mom, but she also was very open in how she raised me. So I knew that I had an open relationship with her. Like I could go to her and talk to her about boys. If there was a guy that I had a crush on, I could talk to her about that, which I really appreciated, because outside of her being my mom, I knew that I had a big sister, in the sense that I had someone that I could talk to and be open with, which I really, really appreciated. And I think that that is lacking a lot in our culture. I realized even growing up and having conversations with other people and seeing how they were raised, seeing that, whoa, I was raised completely differently, because most people here cannot approach their parents and talk to them about certain things. So that was like, I knew that, okay, I can talk to my mom about everything. That was really, really nice. As I said, she also had a huge community around me. And I know I had like, there were not that many males there, but I think a good thing would probably be to have some sort of a guy figure there to talk to her about the things that maybe as a mother she might not be able to speak to me about. So for example, if it's about guys, and guys know how guys operate, so maybe but later on, I know like later on growing up, like now who's my stepdad, he also played a role in teaching me or sharing with me things that maybe from a guy's perspective or from a man's perspective. So I think that that's important to have some sort of male figure, if you can, to teach them some of the things that maybe mothers are not strong in.
Okay, that's nice. So you've talked about the dad, the stepdad. So let's talk about that, because your mom got married when you were actually much, much older.
Yeah.
I know a lot of single moms, we out here like, how long am I going to be single, Lord?
Yeah.
I mean,
my mom raised me she was a single mom for 19 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So keep hope alive, people. I'm keeping hope alive, you
Yeah.
know. I'm happy with which way things swing. Like, I'm not going to put God on a timeline. But yeah, so what was that like? Because I know she mentioned to me that you might have been quite instrumental in her relationship with her husband.
That is an interesting story.
Okay.
Because, I mean, obviously for 19 years, you've grown up with just you and your mom. And so the transition was quite interesting because I, to a certain extent, at that age, felt like I did the protecting. Like, I felt like I protected my mom. Like, she has my back and I have her back.
Yeah.
So when he stepped in, it was a bit like, whoa.
Hold up.
Hold up. How is this? Because obviously, as a husband, he also he takes up that role. And so I know that, like, initially it was a very hard concept to understand that, okay, you don't have to take care of your mom anymore. Because I think even though she was my mom, at the back of my mind, I always had this thing of I have to take care of her, or I have to make sure that I can make money for myself so that I can take care of her. And if my mom is sick, then I have to, like, I was the only other person who felt I was capable of being her everything. So when somebody else stepped in and was her everything, that was a bit hard.
Okay.
Yeah. But I did have a relationship with him. He had a cell group that I used to go to. And I think just as I was finding myself in Christ, was around the same time that I started going to that cell group. And interestingly enough, soon after we started going, because my mom and I would go there, she moved to Lesotho because she got work there. And so I was left in Malawi. I was living with my granny, and I would go to the cell groups. And so him and I built a relationship because I had 1,000,001 questions. So I'd always be asking him,
Understandably.
all these questions about God and just how Christianity works. And he'd always answer me. So we had this, he was like a big brother type of relationship. And he, really taught me a lot of the fundamental things of Christianity. So we had a good relationship. And I remember, I think before he proposed, I don't remember it very, very clearly, but I do remember having some sort of dream about him proposing. And I remember sharing it with him because I used to share, at that time, God used to speak to me a lot in dreams. So I'd always like tell him my dreams and ask him to help me understand them. So that was one of them. And for him, that was his confirmation, because he'd been praying to say, if he's going to ask my mom out, he didn't want propose rather. He didn't want to marry her without me being okay with it. Wow. When I told him about that dream, that was literally his answered prayer. So that's kind of how I was instrumental in it. Yeah.
Okay, don't get teary. Now your mom's married. You are in a home with a dad, with a mom. You got a baby sister now. What is life like now? Do you feel like you might have missed out on anything? Are you grateful for the life that you've had? And, I mean, obviously you're not ungrateful.
Yeah.
But yeah, what is life now?
I think for me now, it's really because now I think they've been married 4 years. They just celebrated their 4th year anniversary in December. So it's still quite, I know 4 years is a long time, but because I'm at school most of the time, I'm not in the home setting a lot. So the times that I get with both of them is very limited. So it's still kind of fresh for me to a certain extent because I'm not there most of the times. So I think it's still learning what that looks like to have a dad. And a lot of times it's very hard to embrace because you grow up, I think being raised by a single mom, you grow up very independent and very headstrong and wanting to do things for yourself. But when there's a man around, a lot of times he wants to be able to do certain things for you and ease certain burdens. So I think for me it's been learning to allow that to happen. And also just trust that he has the best intentions at heart for me, and that he does want to father me. I think the hardest part has been allowing myself to be fathered, because for the longest time I wasn't fathered, and I couldn't trust a man to be my father. So that has not been easy. It's challenging, I think, to allow the walls to break and to trust someone to father you, to take care of you, and to realize that in as much as mothers are amazing, God designed that they should be a father and mother. He designed that perfectly. And so I think for now it's really learning how to ease into the father-daughter relationship. That's what life looks like for me now.
Thank you. I want to say thank you because you've shared so many amazing insights. I feel like if people have questions, I don't mind having you back at all.
I don't mind having me back.
Right? Young single mothers. Yeah, but if people have questions, feel free to send them through. I mean, Trey would be happy to answer them because I feel like your mom, one, has done a phenomenal job. You're just such an incredible human being. And I just absolutely love your family. And I love that, you guys all love the Lord. And I think that big part of the biggest part really is being able to have that father. Even though it's different when you have the person in the physical, like you've said. But I'm really hoping that, everything goes great and that, you continue to flourish and to grow, and all the best with school and the future.
Thank you.
Guys, this is Trey.
Thank you for having me. Really enjoyed the chat.
All right.
Definitely feel like I poured out my whole heart.
That's what we want.
But I hope it helps someone.
Yeah, absolutely. So thanks, guys, for tuning in to Young Single Mothers. See you again next week.
Bye.
1, 2, 3, go.
If you're young and you're single and a mother,
You never know what God can do.
you better believe you can make it through it. Stand up tall and pay your dues.
This is YSM.